10 new laws just changed everything. Across the country, a November court ruling just rewrote major parts of American gun law. 10 powerful legal shifts now affect how you carry, defend, store, transport, and protect your firearms. Some expand your rights dramatically, while others create subtle traps that could cost you your freedom if you miss even one detail. These new standards impact every gun owner regardless of state or background, which means you need this information before you make your next decision. If you believe your rights matter, subscribe to Survival Firearms and stay with me until the end, because these 10 changes will determine how secure you truly are. Chapter 1. The standard that changes everything. For decades, courts used flexible legal tests that allowed gun restrictions to survive with little effort from the government. That era is now gone. The new ruling activates the toughest legal standard available and forces every gun law to be judged with the highest level of scrutiny. This does not simply raise the bar, it rewrites how courts evaluate your rights in every case moving forward. The government must prove a compelling need for any restriction. The law must be crafted as narrowly as possible without a broad impact. Courts must reject vague or hypothetical public interest claims. Hundreds of existing laws may now fail under this elevated standard. This new requirement shifts the burden of proof away from you. The government can no longer rely on assumptions. They must defend their restrictions with real evidence or risk immediate constitutional collapse. Chapter 2. Self-defense lawsuits just got rewritten. In the past, criminals and their families weaponized civil court to destroy gun owners, even after lawful self-defense. A justified shooting still led to lawsuits, debt, and years of financial suffering. The new ruling brings this injustice to an end by creating full immunity when your defensive actions are lawful. Civil lawsuits cannot begin unless criminal wrongdoing is proven first. Burdens of proof shift entirely onto the accuser before any case proceeds. Lawful defenders receive immediate legal protection after an incident. Opportunistic claims seeking financial gain lose their legal foundation. This means that if you defend yourself, you no longer face a second battle in civil court. Your financial survival is protected at the same moment your life is defended. Chapter 3. Police power faces a new limit. Qualified immunity once acted as a shield that protected officers from accountability even when they violated Second Amendment rights. That shield has been removed in cases where the violations are clear and established by law. Officers can now be personally responsible for wrongful confiscations and rights violations that were once dismissed or ignored. Officers cannot use qualified immunity to escape responsibility. Wrongful firearm seizures carry financial penalties for the officer. Home and vehicle encounters must follow precise constitutional limits. Courts are already issuing large judgments in cases where rights were ignored. This restores a balance that has been missing for decades. If an officer crosses constitutional boundaries, they no longer walk away untouched. You now have a realistic path to justice when your rights are violated. Chapter 4. Sensitive places are no longer what they were. Some states pushed for creative workarounds by labeling almost every public location as a sensitive place to avoid firearm carry. They declared grocery stores, sidewalks, parking lots, and parks as restricted spaces. The new ruling destroys this tactic by clearly defining what a sensitive location actually requires. Sensitive places must include controlled access and an active security presence. The government cannot ban carry in general public areas without a clear justification. States must remove most locations from their restricted lists. Public spaces without screening or security no longer qualify for restrictions. This significantly contracts the map of places where carry is prohibited. A simple sign is no longer enough to strip away your rights. The government must now meet a real legal standard before labeling any location as sensitive. Chapter 5. Permits can no longer be delayed. Many states delayed concealed carry applications for months or years, effectively blocking citizens from exercising their rights. This ruling forbids that practice and forces a strict timeline that every state must follow without exception. Applications must be approved or denied within 60 days. Automatic approval applies when the state fails to respond in time. Agencies cannot demand extra documents without legal justification. Denials must come with detailed written explanations. This closes one of the most abused loopholes in gun control. Bureaucrats can no longer stall your rights through silence or endless paperwork requests. You finally have a predictable, enforceable timeline. Chapter 6. Mental health now equals risk. This new legal shift blurs the line between mental health support and legal suspicion. Under several state policies, vague emotional concerns can now justify temporary firearm removal, even without proof of threat or violence. Officers can act on mental health claims without psychiatric evaluation. A concerned friend or ex can trigger investigations without a judge. Medical privacy is quietly overridden during red flag proceedings. Emotional distress or therapy visits may now be viewed as risk factors. This change places gun owners in a dangerous double bind. Seeking help can now be interpreted as instability, and remaining silent can raise suspicion. The policy trades safety for surveillance, and gun owners are caught in the middle. Chapter 7. Red flag expansion is spreading fast. States like New York, Illinois, and California are quietly expanding red flag laws beyond their original scope. Once limited to family and law enforcement, now even school officials, coworkers, and medical professionals can initiate gun seizures. Over 1,200 red flag cases were filed in just 2 counties this year. Many cases lacked any history of violence or criminal behavior. Appeals are slow, confusing, and costly for the average citizen. Seizures often happen without the gun owner being present. This expansion has turned red flag laws into a weapon of convenience. What began as a rare emergency option is fast becoming routine, and every expansion adds a new way to disarm without trial, evidence, or recourse. Chapter 8. Courts are conflicted and divided. While some judges defend Second Amendment rights, others continue to uphold broad interpretations of state power. This creates a legal patchwork where your rights change depending on your zip code and the bench that hears your case. District courts have upheld contradictory red flag procedures. Some states recognize SCOTUS precedent, others openly defy it. Appeals often take months, during which firearms remain confiscated. Legal aid is often out of reach for low-income gun owners. This inconsistency undermines the Constitution itself. When the same law means different things in different places, rights become a gamble. Gun owners are left hoping for the right judge at the right time, with little clarity on what is truly legal. Chapter 9. Federal agencies are watching closely. Most gun owners think red flag laws and firearm confiscation policies are only state-level concerns. But behind the scenes, federal agencies are quietly watching, collecting data, and positioning themselves for deeper involvement in future enforcement models. The ATF has begun requesting firearm transfer records from states implementing new red flag policies. Internal DOJ documents suggest creating a standardized federal framework to assist states with confiscation procedures. Some federal grants are now being tied to state compliance with red flag execution metrics and mental health checks. In several pilot programs, state law enforcement is collaborating with federal agents to enforce extreme risk protection orders. This is not a public takeover, but a quiet integration. While federal agencies are not directly seizing firearms, they are laying the groundwork to influence how states do it through funding, policy guidance, and information sharing. That means your rights may be affected by decisions made in Washington, even if your local laws appear unchanged. It is a subtle shift in control that could have long-term consequences for nationwide gun ownership. Chapter 10. Your rights are quietly being rewritten. The most dangerous legal changes are not the ones announced on national TV. They are the ones passed quietly, interpreted differently, and applied inconsistently. Across the country, laws around firearm ownership, confiscation, and self-defense are being redefined in real time, not by Congress, but by lower courts, governors, and law enforcement agencies. New legal definitions now allow gun confiscation without a criminal conviction, and in some cases, without a crime at all. Due process protections, once considered untouchable, are being bypassed with urgent orders and health-based exceptions. Judges in different states are handing down rulings that completely contradict each other, creating confusion and unequal treatment under the law. Once clear rights, like the ability to defend your home or speak to a lawyer before surrendering firearms, are now conditional and vary by location. This is the legal equivalent of erosion. You do not see the whole mountain fall at once, but piece by piece the foundation crumbles. Gun owners cannot afford to be reactive. Understanding these shifts, staying informed, and preparing legally are the only ways to stay protected, because by the time the next law is fully understood, the one after it will already be in motion. The fight has quietly begun. This is no longer a theoretical debate. It is a real, ongoing transformation of American law that affects every firearm owner. Some of these changes may sound reasonable on the surface, but they are carving loopholes into the Constitution. If you believe in the Second Amendment, in due process, and in standing up before it is too late, now is the time. Speak up, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for the latest updates on laws that could change your life overnight. Because silence is no longer safe, and awareness is no longer optional.